Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank my good friend, Dr. Burgess, for shepherding this bill through the Energy and Commerce Committee and taking us to the point where we are today on the floor. I rise in support of this bill, the Childhood Cancer STAR Act. The bill addresses four major concerns facing the pediatric cancer community: survivorship, treatment, access, and research. I was proud to introduce this bill with Ms. Jackie Spear, with G.K. Butterfield, and Mr. Mike Kelly of Pennsylvania. This is the most comprehensive childhood cancer bill ever considered before this House. This bill passed the House in 2016, and I encourage the support of all members today so we can finally send it to the President's desk for his signature. And I'm proud to say that today is the day. And I know a lot of the advocates have been waiting for this day for quite some time. Childhood cancer, unfortunately, remains the deadliest killer of our children. And at some point, we as a Congress and as a nation must say enough is enough. In short, the STAR Act elevates and prioritizes the fight against childhood cancer at the NIH. Specifically, STAR places a pediatric oncologist on the board at the National Cancer Institute. So childhood cancer will now have a voice at the table when funding decisions are made. It also expands opportunities to childhood cancer research, allowing doctors to better understand and track how cancer develops in children. Finally, we must also address the needs of the nearly 500,000 survivors of childhood cancer. Due to their treatments using chemotherapy, a World War I chemical agent, 2/3 of these survivors will face serious lifelong medical conditions. And when I think about what this means, I think of my friend Sadie Keller. She is perhaps the strongest person I know. Sadie underwent over 2 years of chemotherapy at the age of 7 before being diagnosed, or after being diagnosed with leukemia. And she has been, at her young age, perhaps the most relentless advocate for this cause and this bill here on Capitol Hill and throughout the childhood cancer community. I just want to refer to this picture of little Sadie and myself when she was going through remission on the speaker's balcony, looking out over the mall with a vision towards the future, a future where children will no longer have to go through this disease, and looking at the dark clouds, but the sunlight coming through. That is what this bill represents, is sunlight for the children who have been afflicted with this terrible disease. And while now her cancer is in remission, that does not mean her medical challenges are over. We must do more as a nation to care for these survivors. And to that end, the STAR Act will improve collaboration among providers so doctors are better able to care for survivors as they age. I want to close with, in passing, I want to thank Sadie, but I also want to thank people like Danielle Leach and the Alliance for Childhood Cancer team for their relentless advocacy on the Hill and work on this bill. I also want to thank Nancy Goodman and Kids vs. Cancer and the entire childhood cancer advocacy community for standing up and getting us to the point where we are today. You are the voice of these children. You made this event possible here today, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I urge passing of this life-altering piece of legislation, and with that, I yield back.